Hello, 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 my beautiful, powerful, everyday women of the world. Welcome to the Startup Stories podcast, where the ambitious and everyday woman is heard, held, and served in life and business. I'm your host, Mia Frankel of Powerful Inc., the everyday woman's coach for living a peaceful and productive life. On this podcast, you'll hear relatable stories to keep you sane, grounded, and growing as you expand yourself and deliver your purpose to the world. And you guys, this episode is epic. Tammy, we're going to timestamp. It's December 30th, 2025, and this is episode 100.
Yay!
I did it. I did it. It happened. And it's so funny because there was a lot of cancellations in like October. And so I didn't record for several weeks, which one would think could throw off the momentum or rhythm or like sequential adding up of the show. But here we are with 2 days left in the year, and I hit 100, which was my goal, which is awesome. So
Congratulations.
thanks. It's 3 years, 100 episodes. I'm feeling good about it. And it's a landmark, and it's a nice closure to 1 year to start the next two, which is fun. So, you guys, today's guest is the delightful, the fully embodied, powerful leader, the one and only Tammy Vincent. Her heart has been shaped with deep compassion through lived experience. This is why she's not just a life coach teaching things, she's a life coach bringing forward lessons and the soul work based on her lived experience. She knows the pain and the wounds that come from having alcoholic parents. And this is her work and her sacred mission to help support and restore confused, lonely, scared children, adult children now who feel invisible and they didn't know where to turn. They've never necessarily had somebody be like, "Hey, I've lived that too. Come here and let's heal this together." So it's very personal for her. And she helps adults now uncover the wounds that were made, the coping mechanisms, the avoidance, the shrinking, all these things that resulted from living in such a dysfunctional home as children. And with this, Tammy gets to carry a beautiful softness with her strength. And I love the symbolism of the ocean and turtles because they're represent endurance and wisdom and coming back to home. And a beautiful fun fact is that Tammy has gotten a tattoo of turtles with her kids that kind of heals the lineage of this, right? It sets a new path forward. It's so beautiful. And a couple of other big brags about you, Tammy, before we hand it over, you guys. She's been booked at speaking events, one called Life on Fire, one called Big Money Speaker. And we're at the bottom of December. The top of December, she hosted a Radiant Women Wellness Weekend in Florida. So we could go on forever about her, but let's just bring her in and let's have the conversation and hear her story and the work that she's doing. Welcome, Tammy.
Well, thank you, Mia. Wow, all that sounded so good.
Well, hey, girl.
Hey,
Just
that's
talking about
me.
you.
Uh,
Yeah,
you forget
delightful.
about that though, because honestly, like up until a few years ago, I would have been like, "Oh no, 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 don't say anymore, don't say anymore. People are going to be looking at me. People are going to be smiling. People are going to be asking me. People are going to be wanting to know
Mhm.
more, and I don't want them to know more." And
Mhm.
I love that now. It's just the opposite. It's like, "See, here I am."
Yeah. I
I
get
love
that.
it.
That's like the shrinking versus the taking up the space that you're meant to take up. So, reciprocally, I just released a book this year. I'm a contributor to a book, and I shrank so much around all of this. Writing it was awesome. Behind the scenes, all of it was awesome. But then putting myself out there with it and with written word, with even less control of who could see, read, judge, and respond,
Right.
was like, whoa. And so we have to work through those things, right? But we may not understand where they start. So why don't you take us through, how I know it's such a big question, but like, why, why this life coaching business and what brought you to this point?
Well, I realized at 26 that there was so many different things I didn't know. The first one being the whole concept of unconditional love. So
Mm,
that's what literally catapulted me into wanting to heal myself and really just grow out of some of the things and the patterns and the misbeliefs and all of that that had been kind of conditioned into me. But as I went through that, I kept watching and looking around and I was like, okay, I want to help children. That was my first mission. Like,
mm,
I want to help these kids. So I became a teacher. It was like I kept doing what I thought that life was supposed to tell
okay.
me to do so
Yeah,
that I could get to my purpose. Because we
yeah,
all know if we don't have a purpose, we have nothing really. Or if
yeah.
we don't feel we have a purpose. So for the listeners out there, I don't care if your purpose is just to make one person smile a day.
Hmm.
Everybody has a purpose.
Hmm.
So as I went through the stages, I kept, like I said, I was wanted to help the children. And as I'm helping these children, I'm in this, teaching and watching these hollowed out eyes of these children. I'm like, wow, one of four of these parents also have the generational trauma of what I did because one in four of these parents are addicted to something.
Hmm.
So it just kept growing and growing. And I was like, okay, how do I reach? Then I was like, how do I reach the children in the masses? And so at first I was very, very focused around the children, but then I'm watching my own children through this process and I'm like, wait a minute, until these adult children really grasp the concept that they can change and that they can have a better life and that their kids' lives are not just kind of set in stone because of circumstances, nothing is going to change.
Hmm.
So I kind of shifted. And I did, all through my life, I kind of, like I said, I did what I had to do, not what I loved doing.
Hmm.
And then I lost a business during COVID. I had a window and siding franchise, which is totally off the mark for what I want to do, but I lost that. And I was like, I can at this point in my life take all of my 30 years of what I've been working through and all of my tools and my tips and my tricks and my certifications. And I'm a chronic learner, by the way.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, oh, what? NLP? Someone said I should go to an NLP practitioner. Well, let me take 5 years of training in that
Yeah.
before I even go step into their office. That was kind of how I rolled. So I realized that I did have this bag of tricks and that I can give someone one little tip that can literally change the whole trajectory of their life.
Hmm.
But I'm like, I can't do that while I'm selling windows, if that
Yeah.
made sense. So I just knew that I was not doing what I was meant to do. And I needed a purpose. I mean, I grew up my whole life being told I would never be anything, never do anything, never
Right.
have any value. And I wanted to prove, I don't know if it was myself wrong or everybody that told me that wrong, or even the people that probably didn't even tell me that, but I just assumed they were telling me that.
Right.
So that's really what set me out. And I remember I was at a book writing conference and I did write two books.
Hmm.
One was called Surviving Alcoholic Parents, if that doesn't sum it up.
Right.
And I was at a book writing conference and I was meeting my friend and we were at the airport and I was sitting next to the lady who was really nervous. Her knee was going up and
Mm.
down and she was really stressed. And I said to her, "Are you afraid to fly?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Can I give you 7 minutes will you give me 7 minutes of your life and you can do with it what you want?" I said, "Just follow what I say, do what I say. It's kind of going to be a fun little thing." And so I did a little EFT tapping with her
Mhm.
and she like skipped onto that airplane and she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, I haven't flown without a Valium in 20 years."
Wow.
And my friend turned around to me and she said, "Do you do this for everybody?" And I said, "Yeah, because people need the tips and tricks that can make their life a little better." And she said, "Why don't you do it for a business? Like, why don't you just do
Mm.
it?"
Mhm.
And that's really what set me off. And I kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. You're right. So that's kind of how it got started.
That's beautiful. So again, listeners, you'll hear this common thread of the pursuit of your heart's purpose. So we were made for something, and it may take a while to excavate, but in that is the preparation in order to become ready. You know, if I were to go to the Olympics and try and compete for gold today, I would not get anywhere. I would die like of exhaustion in the first minute. You have to put the training in sometimes. And so our life can be used in that way. What's interesting is that you were searching and, you were finding these different places. And this will be a lead on to the next question. You had built a business, and so now you were going to build a second business. So how did you start going about that and assuming it was very different than the window one?
Oh, yes, it was 100% different. Well, the first thing I did was write my book. And
Mm,
that was kind of I want to say my confidence builder a little bit because I was like,
yeah,
oh, I'm a best-selling author. Woohoo,
yeah.
which honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, okay. I mean, I literally got banned on Amazon 3 months after I wrote my book, after I became a best-selling author. So that's a whole nother story. But I just realized in everything that was going on and, going through this COVID thing and everybody disconnecting, I was like, people need connection.
Hmm.
So what I did is I just started networking. I started going to any group I could think of. I just started going to Toastmasters group and
Hmm.
speakers and anywhere I could share my story and say or throw out, hey, I have a little tip for you. I have a little trick for you. But it's really what I did is I keep the human connection.
Hmm.
I know AI now does a lot of work for us and that's great, but I still like that one-on-one. There's nothing like looking at a Zoom and going, okay, I know that's not AI doing her
Yeah.
because she just made three mistakes and flipped her words four times.
Mm.
People aren't perfect.
Yeah.
So I really just, and I will always keep it that way. I will always keep it personal. 90% of my people that I meet that come to me, that work with me, come from either a podcast or a health vendor market or something where I meet them in person.
Mm.
So I just started networking and just
Mhm.
started telling people. There's a lot to be said for if you're working with a coach or working with someone that yes, I have an NLP certification and yes, I have EFT tapping and I have all of this stuff, but I also get it.
Yeah.
Like I've been there.
Yeah.
I remember my first client, she said to me, Tammy, I've been paying a therapist $110 a week for 11 years. And she said, in 18 minutes, you told me more about why I am the way I am and something I can do to shift that
Hmm.
than I got in 11 years. And I was like, because I was you.
Hmm.
And I think there's so much to that. So I think I just was like, I'm just going to go out there, tell my story, go to fun events that involve like-minded people. I mean, people that want to grow and that want to find their purpose are all at the same kind of events.
Yeah.
They're not at the bar drinking, or they may be, don't get me wrong. That's some good networking too. But they're at book writing conferences, learning how to write memoirs.
Hmm.
They're at health and wellness events, learning
Hmm.
how to do Reiki on their body to get rid of their chronic pain. Like
Hmm.
we're all in the same little area in the world.
Yeah.
So I really just started putting myself out there.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And it's so different, you guys, from kind of sitting at home and, praying to the social media powers to bring the people forward. And that personal touch is meaningful to me too, because you want to know the people and the type of work that you do and some other life coaches is very intimate and in the vulnerable places of someone. And so, there's a difference between picking up your coach's frequency and seeing if there's chemistry there versus buying something off of an ad and hoping, like that woman in 11 years of therapy, that something's going to come. And she was probably just thinking, well, therapy's supposed to be the way, and this is what I'm supposed to do, and just didn't know or stop to think of other options. Where
Right.
now, our entire lived perspective is going to be different as a result of having worked with you, right? And so from the looks of your portfolio, your business has really grown into a dynamic and rich experience for you where you get to now play in different things. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, and it's fun. Like I have my online course and it's an interactive kind of self-guided thing and that kind of just sits there and does its thing and I interact. I check messages every day and I do that. But like you were mentioning, I hosted a wellness event and
Yeah.
that has become my new jam. Like I loved that. I had 15 speakers and 25 vendors come and it
Oh,
was right here in Cocoa Village in Florida and It was full days, like 10 to 7 each day. Like
Hmm.
there was so much connection and so much
Hmm.
energy in that room. It was insane. You mentioned frequencies. I am very into
Yeah,
energy. I run biofrequency scans for all of
yeah,
my clients anytime they want so that they can kind of see energetically where they're off because we're all energy.
yeah.
And so I've really kind of branched out. I want to start speaking more because I feel like I can reach the masses that way.
Right.
Still do a lot of one-on-one, and usually what happens is people come to me and say, "Oh, let's just chit chat," and then, like you said, it's a vulnerable area.
Hmm.
It's private. It's not something I'm not going to have a group of 85 people online all
Yeah,
airing their stuff.
yeah.
Even some people will say to me, "Well, your podcast doesn't have a lot of comments or reviews," and I'm like, "No, but they reach out to me personally."
Hmm.
And that's just because of the vulnerability of the
Hmm.
topic. And I reach different topics. I've been I don't want to say blessed enough, but I mean I have been blessed
Right,
enough to have to deal with more than just
right,
alcoholic parents. I mean,
right.
my mother was a drug addict. She pimped me out to drug dealers. I mean, it
Mm.
was crazy. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've dabbled and healed from a lot of different experiences. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you can really hold the space, and there is something about really being understood, right? So your clients really feel understood by you, where you have, like you said, walked and further than their experiences. And there's a great deal of um, like being able to breathe when somebody can see that and be that for you, which is really um, special. And it's impressive how much you've turned around those horrific experiences into something so beautiful and meaningful.
Well, I love that I could do it because in doing that, the people that come to me,
Yeah.
they will tell me a story and I don't bat an eye. I look at
Yeah.
them with compassion and they're like, "You're not shocked?" And I'm like, "Nothing shocks me." Like we all have these stories and I totally get it.
Hmm.
It's like and yeah, I think it gave me much more of a non-judgmental. Yeah, I don't judge anybody, and I don't
Yeah.
think any of us are better than anybody, and we should judge anybody. But yeah, I love when people come to me and they're like, nothing I say shocks you," and I'm like, it wasn't my experience, you know. And then
Hmm.
it's like, and I can look at it with compassion and
Hmm.
empathy, and I also feel like, especially in my realm of people that grew up with addiction that turn to self medicate themselves, I've also been on that side.
Right.
So there is zero judgment. I've gone through AA and I've gone through ACA. So,
Hmm.
which adult, for the people listening, AA is the Alcoholic Anonymous and the ACA is the Adult Children of Alcoholics. So
Hmm.
I've gone through both. I've worked through the issues of both. So it's not like I look at someone who's, been addicted to pain pills for 30 years because her mother was horrific to her.
Yeah.
I don't look at that and judge and see the addiction side of it. I help her get through to see the fact that her mother was struggling. And when she can let go of all of that, all of her other problems, her stuff will start to resolve itself. So yeah, it's really it's an interesting mix, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's this inner child healing, then you mix it in with the biometrics, which is really helpful to identify things that we can't necessarily see or comprehend, and then leading them forward. And in all of that, I think you represent hope for them, hope for a different future and than they've experienced, and a path forward out of the current state that they're living in.
Right. And that's the reason I literally named my podcast Adult Child of Dysfunction, because I
Mhm.
said anybody that hears that name and goes, "Ooh, that's me."
Mhm.
That's my audience, and I want it is all stories of hope and healing because I want people to understand it doesn't matter what happened to you.
Hmm.
Your past
Hmm.
does not define you. Nobody ever, ever, ever would have thought that I could have run a $2 million window business with just my
Hmm.
daughter and I. Like
Right.
literally, nobody would have been like, "Oh yeah, you've got the guts and the determination." Nobody would have said that. And but I did it,
Yeah.
and I'll do another. I'll turn it around, and now I'll do it in something that I actually
Yeah.
love doing. And yeah, I think everybody needs to have hope.
Yeah. Well, it's what keeps us going. But then hope with evidence of someone else's outcome is it brings in, I guess, the element of faith along with it, right? And starts to build one's own belief. Well, if she can, maybe I can too, right?
Right,
And then if she can, maybe she can help me. And you kind of continue to evolve that type of mindset until that person is doing it themselves. And again, like you said, not everybody has to run out and create like a global impact mission, but
right,
that person could be somebody in the grocery store one day who just all of a sudden has an intimate exchange with someone else and passes that along. Like a lot of my, I call them heart cracking moments, are transient. They happen in that
right,
moment, and then hopefully they stay with that person. But I literally see them start to open up to more love, to more unconditional, to less selfishness. And off they go, feeling lighter, right? And then there's always going to be a ripple effect around that as a result. So Tammy, what are you learning about yourself this time around in running this business and growing it?
um, that I'm actually learning that I'm actually more determined than I thought I was. I
Mm.
really have more resilience than I really thought I was. It was such before in the past when I would have a failure at work or something in the business, it was very easy for me to blame someone else and to
Mhm.
just be like, well, because of this, because of that. Um, this business, I realized, I'm not selling windows. I'm selling, like you said, hope
Yeah.
and purpose I'm selling all the big things that will have a ripple effect. And I just kind of, it's like the buck stops here. I really realized that I'm definitely at a point where it's like, okay, and this is a few years ago where I'm taking 100% responsibility for everything. My whole life had been, it just was because. And when I take responsibility, and I don't edit my podcast. That's a perfect example. And people are like, what? You don't edit your
Yeah.
podcast? I'm like, we're human. We are not perfect. If I were to say a cat never walked across the screen and I chunk that out and there's now blurps
Mhm.
in the words and I'm like, no, we are not perfect. And I am embracing my imperfections
Yeah.
so that other people can see.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things is I really am like, nope, if I did it wrong, it's on me, nobody else. I stopped the blame game. And that was a big one for me because a lot of people, they feel like the victim.
Yeah.
When you grow up like that,
Yeah.
it's very easy to slip into that victimhood. And I
Yeah.
realized that I've gotten myself out of that completely. And that's kind of nice.
That's huge because business will push and test every crook and nanny of who you think you are and what you're made of. And if you can't start to navigate and hold space for that, it will swallow you up, and
Right.
it is so important. That speaks again so directly to my heart of not having a veil, right? Of not having a veil between who you are. Like I like to say, we all fart. We all have to
Right.
go to the bathroom, even,
Yep.
the pretty fancy people of the world. So, like, we're all real. And that is the beauty of, like, of unconditional love, of unconditional acceptance, of
Hmm.
it's almost like expecting to make mistakes because for sure I would put so much pressure on myself to perform and be perfect, and I'd be sweaty and anxiety ridden and my nervous system was completely out of whack. In full transparency, we started recording at the top of the hour, and I was in bed when I was messaging you to confirm if we were on, and I'm like, okay.
I was in bed when you were messaging.
Like I'll get up and just roll out of bed and come in here. And, I'm ready for the conversation. I've become somebody, even through this podcast, I've noticed how I've evolved and shed a lot of skins of just being more me and of it being more
Mhm.
safe to be all of who you are and not worry about the rest. And also, I don't do any editing because I believe in that same thing of like, we're just very real people. P.S. I don't want to use the time that it would take to go through and perfectly formulate and, produce an episode. It is what it is. It's raw, it's real, it's honest. And that's a big part of the message now for the everyday woman, which is what, this podcast is all about. So why don't you share a little bit with us about some of the systems and supports you've put into your business so that, you can continue to play in the creative side?
Okay. Well, one of the things I really brought into the energy quite a lot, and like I said, I do a bioresonance voice scan for people, and that really kind of sometimes just makes people aware. It gives you like your highest notes and your lowest notes, which are unsuppressed emotions. And, people think they can go out there and they can put this happy face on. And I always say, you can trick your mind, but you can't trick your
Mhm.
body.
Mhm.
So like I do this voice scan and it starts out as more fun. I get a lot of clients actually just by people me offering it free
Right.
because it makes you aware and not aware in a judgmental way, but I kind of say, I can do a 40 question intake form, which I do for my clients. They
Yep.
do 40 questions and then we kind of go over all of that. We have the wheel of life and you kind of I work with each person individually as far as, what do you need? Do you need weekly support, monthly support, group support? I offer it kind of in a veil of however they need it, but I start with general assessments because I think that it's good to get an overall picture of, and people want to know. And a lot of people are not going to tell me these things
Mhm.
and what's going on and how they're feeling. But when you ask specific questions, they're very easy to answer A, B, C, or D.
Mhm.
Um, so I do the one-on-one, I do the voice scan, and I have one of my favorite part of my programs right now is a club, and you can get unlimited scans throughout the month. You just
Mhm.
and it sends you balancing harmonic frequencies, and it's a tool that keeps people at peace, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And that is my biggest goal is when I'm not dealing with you one on one every single day, what is your tool that can bring you back down?
Yeah.
Um, I I I work a lot on just kind of lowering people's base state of anxiety, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. So they're so that when they get up and they're anxious, they have a tool to bring them down from maybe a 9 anxiety level to a 3.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like and then I work with them, obviously, the one on one and the groups and everything. But that is my biggest thing. I like to give people tools.
Yeah.
And so that's where we kind of start. And I love that little section of it. That's probably one of my most fun sections. Have you had one?
I've had one with a couple of practitioners. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then we kind of round it all out because that will kind of answer a lot of questions as far as what do you need and also
Mhm.
what do you want?
Yeah.
I am a certified health coach, so I can do the diet part of it with you. I can do the
Mhm.
supplement. I can do all of that stuff, but that's kind of my starting point because that's fun for people. It's
Yeah.
something most people have never experienced. And I'll be honest, I like to work with people that are really ready to make a change,
Mhm.
really ready. It's not the people that go, these are my 9 problems that I have. It's the people that come to me that just say, I don't understand, and my heart hurts, and I don't understand why I'm not happy. I'm doing
Mhm.
all the things. I'm doing yoga. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, and I'm still just not there. So those are really, but that's the main. I start with that biofrequency scan. That's a big part of it, and then that
Mhm.
follows into the one-on-one because then from that we can build weekly, monthly, daily plans,
Mhm.
whatever that looks like for each individual person.
Yeah. That's wonderful. There's a lot of clarity and creativity in what you're doing and how you do it, which is really fun because, you set up a few systems that support the booking and the client's pathway to come in, and then you still have a lot of flexibility in where you're going to meet them to serve them and continue to support them. And what's really sustainable about this, one for you and your business, but also for them to develop their capacity to take care of themselves, where they've never
That
really come to that because they were always in a dysregulated state and finding, largely unhealthy coping mechanisms to just tamp in and push down what was going on.
And that is important to me because it's not that I don't want my clients for life, but honestly, I don't want my clients for life.
Yes.
I want them to get to a point where they're like, I got this. And
Yes.
if you need to call me once a month after that and just touch base, I'm always here. That's
Yeah.
one thing once you work with me on any capacity, I'm always here, always a
Hmm.
text message away, always Facebook Messenger I use a lot because it's
Hmm.
easy.
Yeah, it
Thank
is.
goodness,
Yeah.
or I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah.
Um, but I want them to feel like they can be given the tools. It took me 30 years to get all these tools together. And if I can hand
Yeah.
you four or five and say, try these for 3 weeks and then come back and talk to me, it's amazing.
Hmm.
It's absolutely amazing to watch people that come back and just say, "Oh my gosh, I did that." And you used the best word ever earlier. You said they feel lighter.
Hmm.
And that's really because we are all I talk about, I do a talk about the invisible backpack of all the crap we're
Right.
carrying around in our backpack.
Yeah.
And this helps people unload it little by little on a daily basis with
Right.
a safe place and the
Hmm.
support.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. So now you mentioned wanting to increase your visibility and things. So you went through this journey of being shaped by your life experience, trying to seek out where it was leading you to, tried some things. That's all kind of culminated to now this coaching business. And after this, was this your first wellness weekend that you
This is the
hosted?
first one I hosted.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so
Mhm.
that kind of, it sounds like it opened your eyes to pursue more, like, where what you're arranging your own stage of networking and bringing people in.
Well, and it's funny what it actually turned into. I had no idea the connections that it turned into because
Hmm.
now we're doing another one in August and it's going to be in Orlando and it's going to be 3 times the size. We've
Wow.
already got some people ready to go. We just have to pick a venue. So,
Hmm.
and it also inspired my daughter to open a wellness retreat. So she's working on buying some land, and so it's
Hmm.
you just never know where these
Just froze there. That's a long freeze. Oh, that was quite the freeze.
Oh, that was quite the freeze. I was wondering too, because I was like, yeah, that's
That's
funny.
okay. We'll just
So
leave
I don't
it
know where it froze, but that's okay.
just with your daughter looking to establish a physical location and that you just never know where these things are going to go.
Absolutely. And it's like I was saying, it real made me realize watching the room of all these people of my tribe. All these
Hmm.
speakers are all health practitioners. They're all Reiki masters. They're all of those people. And that was my tribe. And watching those people make those connections and light up and they learned and I saw people hugging and crying when they were leaving. And it was just I was like, oh, it's just a wellness event. But it was amazing. It was beautiful. And that's what I want to be part of all over. So,
Yeah. Well, you created a community, right?
mhm.
And created an intentional one with a common vision. And when we do that, that is the ripple effects of people who are seeking and needing to come together. And I'm just going to go a little deeper in it that, the market's not ever too saturated for that because we're each going to bring a slightly different mix of contributors, of partners to that. And that's going to attract slightly different crowds. And everybody's seeking and they may not find what they needed as an individual at a different event. So there's always room for more. There's always room for more to come in. And if the dream is there, then one should pursue, because now it sounds like you're going to have some collaborating partners and it's even bigger, and then it's not all up to you to hold all of that either, but you were a catalyst to something being born.
Absolutely. And I'm a huge fan of collaboration, not competition,
Yeah.
because you and I could do the exact same thing, and there could be, 2,000 people that listen to this podcast, and 1,000 of them are going to like you better, and 1,000 of them are going to like me better. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about what, like you said, energetically, where people connect. And if they don't connect with me, I don't want them to feel like they need to, but at the same time, I need them to get the resources they need.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more partners, the better.
The more partners, the better. And I mean, I love collaborations. One, it's more fun to do business with other people, and it helps for me to stay focused on my mission and make it more real. It also helps leverage the work and the reach. And I mean, I like a good time. And so hanging out with awesome people is a good time. Put those things together. So what are you looking for? Are you doing it's year end. Are you doing year in review, year ahead? What do you think's going to be
Um,
different?
I really, it's funny. After I had my 2026 all strategized, I thought I was doing
Oh,
great. I had it all planned out, and then this event happened
okay.
on December 6th and 7th, and
Yeah.
it really made me look at the whole year again. So, it just made me rethink. I mean, obviously, I still continue. I love my coaching. I'm still doing that, but, and I love that. That
Mhm.
is basically my staple, but it really made me kind of, uh-oh, we may need to shift some stuff because now we're going to put in these events. I've had people that asked me, Radiant Women Wellness is actually my daughter's brand. But I've had some people come to me and ask me if they could host an event under her brand. So
Okay.
that's like a whole nother thing,
Wow.
So it's like, okay, now it might be time to get a VA.
Wow.
Tammy's a one man band, but I don't know how much
Yeah.
longer, you know? So,
Yeah.
but it really, I've got some, we've got one now in the works for August, last weekend in August. We've got another one. I am also in my strategy is taking time to make, and I haven't planned which ones yet, but at least three retreats of my own for me
Okay.
to attend.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I think that is critical to keep me
Hmm.
focused and keep me grounded. And I think
Hmm.
that's very important. And I can, I do my scan every morning. I listen to my harmonics, but it's something about that weekend away where you just shut everything off. It's very important to me. So
Yeah.
that's in my strategy.
Well, yeah, that's such an important point, because if you are going to become the woman who grows and scales her business, you need to grow and scale yourself too,
Hmm.
right? We
Yep.
don't do this through efforting. We do this through taking care of ourselves and like continuously expanding the nervous system to hold more.
Hmm. Exactly. And that's the truth. And I'm like, well, I spent so much, and it's true because I don't ever want there to be this like your business should not feel like it's swallowing you whole.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it can be that way. If you're
Yeah.
doing it all yourself, it can be overwhelming because you have so many different things. I used to have four or five different entry points into my business. So it
Right.
was like you could do this and lead to this free thing and move to that and move to that. And I really kind of narrowed it down to no, I'm going to bring everybody into my fun voice scan
Yeah.
because in going over that voice scan, people tell me what they need. They tell me
Mhm.
what they're looking for. They tell me all of that.
Right.
So why be daunting with all this other stuff that people have to jump through all these hoops? And I'm like, no, just come talk to me and we'll do this fun free thing and
Hmm.
see where it goes from there.
Hmm.
And that really simplified my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's less to manage. Absolutely.
Yeah,
The internet will say, create funnels, create this, build, build, build. They're just trying to sell you something. And you need to take your self leadership forward and see what's going to work for you, and what you really want to put the energy into. And
right.
fun for people like us is a
Right.
great place to invest time and energy for sure.
Right.
Um,
Oh, I love doing people scans.
ah,
I love it. It's so
so
much
you're
fun.
listening to their voice to hear different frequencies? Is that what
I
you
don't
voice
hear
scan?
it. I actually just, we get on Zoom and it's 10 seconds. They talk and then the machine
Okay.
actually, the app actually analyzes 171,000 different frequencies in their voice. So I cannot talk to a person at all, do a scan, and then look at it and go, you have major inflammation. You have your cholesterol's high, your this is that, and it's not diagnostic. It's energetically where you're at right now.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and your left eye, the reason it's twitching is it literally goes all the way down,
Yeah, right.
but it also, more importantly, it's all based on emotions. So it
Mhm.
does, the most important part of it is the very first part, which is an inner voice, and it gives you your three highest notes, which are things you're overcompensating for, and
Mhm.
then your lowest note, which is something, it's a suppressed emotion. So it's all emotion. So when people read it and it says, oh, wow, like one of the comments I'll get from someone is, how did it know I had money problems?
Yeah.
Because it's that frequency of your voice, which is attached to, ironically, your gallbladder, which is why
Mm.
you had your gallbladder out. You know, it's just really interesting in how it all ties together, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And when I tell people it's not diagnostic, it's just fun, they're like, okay. But then they
Yeah.
look at it and then they're like, I took it and I compared it to my Quest blood report and it was identical. And I'm like, yeah,
Uh,
it's a
yeah, what
tool.
a beautiful modality to help people see deeper into themselves. And that's
Hmm.
one of your offers to the audience, right? Is to come up and have a free call with you for
Yeah, have free voice scan.
interview.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll give you the link for that. But that's fun. I love to offer that to everybody.
Well,
And it
how
takes about,
valuable.
yeah. And I send back the harmonics. So if you don't even
Right,
want to talk to me about anything, you're still going to get an email with all those balancing harmonics, which
right.
will. Just got a text the other day, and the girl said to me, she said, Tammy, I listened to the harmonics, and within 3 minutes, she said, my jaw, like I felt it unclench, and I didn't even
Mm,
know I was clenching.
mm.
And then she said when she listened to the suppressed emotion one, she said within 4 minutes, she said the tears were just running down her face in a happy way and she didn't know why. And I'm like, I don't know the science behind it. Einstein and
What
Tesla did, but
what was the path that got you into that element of your coaching?
someone did one on me.
Uh,
And I was so intrigued that it
mhm,
was so spot on
mhm,
that I thought, I know that if you grew up in chaos and dysfunction and alcoholic parents and abusive parents, I know that most likely your nervous system is in this hypervigilant state. I know scientifically all of this stuff. I know you have inflammation. Most people have gut issues. Most people clench their jaws at night. Those are all nervous system dysregulation patterns.
mhm,
But so it was like, and I know that by talking to people, how they hold their shoulders, if their shoulders are up or down,
mhm.
you know this stuff intuitively. So this was kind of a tool to put the science with
Yeah,
the intuition.
yeah,
And it was just fun. It was
yeah,
just fun to do. And I did it to like just right off the bat, I did the full like 40 because it gives you 40 pages of
right.
reports. And I did like for 100 people, I just did them for free, real quick.
Mhm,
Bam, bam,
mhm.
bam, bam. And then we analyzed them and I got feedback to see, what would you think if you got this? And it was absolutely amazing and it was fun. It brought something fun into really fun into the business. And then, like I said, people can say, what do I do with this? Because
Mhm.
that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
But that's no different than any any free discovery call where
Yeah.
people like, here's 10 questions. Now, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just a different avenue.
Yeah. That's well, it's great. It's a great way. And plus for you to go through 100 people would give you a lot of exposure to develop your skill and your interaction with them, right? And then figuring
Right.
out if there's a follow-up, a lead on with them. Really,
Right.
really spot on to us interviewing today. I think it was just yesterday, I was browsing Facebook Marketplace, and I live on a like maybe a 750,000 populated island. It's not super big, and we're all quite spread out. But there's a harmonic egg for sale about 2 hours from where I am. And I was like, what? It's on the island? Like, that's crazy. They have it listed for 60,000 and they said, we're not delivering. You have to figure that out. The pictures are a bit, hard to tell what's going on, but I'm like, this is so cool that this technology is here. Like, it feels random and yet exciting because the infiltration of healing modalities and practitioners is really increasing. And that to me is exciting because what are
It,
we here to do? We're here, again, like for me, it's in the chest to open the body, open the heart, calm the
mhm,
nervous system, and lean into that unconditional love of messy, awful, beautiful everything. And, be content in that the same way that you have completely embraced your life story and then show what's possible for others to find their own grounded place.
right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's like you said, $60,000 for a harmonic egg. I'm like, this, even just the app I used to have used to only be available to holistic practitioners like
Mhm.
doctors. And it was
Regulated.
$38,000 and it was probably the size of my room.
Oh my
Now it's
God.
on your phone. Like I
Wow.
can literally take people's crystals and imprint them. I can
Mhm.
imprint your water for
Yeah.
abundance or happiness before you drink it. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. And it's, you have to have an open mind, of
Yeah.
course. That's one of my questions. Are you open to something that you've never heard about, like
Yeah.
frequencies and harmonics and energy healing? Because some
Mhm.
people, it's energetically, you have to accept it too,
Mhm.
or else just like kind of hypnosis. If you're going into hypnosis going, this isn't going to work. Well, of
Yeah.
course it's not. You just
Yeah.
brought that in.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So,
resistance. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, what a fun conversation. I look forward to sharing the link. I encourage the listeners to give it a shot because I think I'm going to book one with you too. um, because it helps me figure out more about what's going on and blind spots that I may not be able to see. And I have two light practitioner friends locally, and it's been so revealing, and
Mm.
so freeing to, again, like better understand oneself. So wonderful. So, Tammy, is there anything else that you want to say or share about you or where you're going with our listeners?
No, I mean, I am here for anybody. I have a much bigger vision than I did 4 years ago. That's for sure. Like when you
Mm,
say no global, not no global impact, but I, with the internet and the way things
yeah,
are, and I mean, literally, I can send you frequencies to your house on your little island, wherever you are,
yeah.
and impact people. I just want to impact as many people in a positive way. And I just want everybody out there listening to know that no matter where you are, and what you are thinking, whether it's business you're deciding about, opening or whatever it is, you can do it.
Mhm.
You can put your mind to it and do it because I did it. And I was told my entire life I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I beg to differ. You're
Yeah.
all worth it. You're all worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
beautiful.
I'm worth it. And it took a long time for me to be able to say that. It
That's
took me
right.
many, many years.
Yeah.
But I know that now. So,
Yeah. Like set yourself free.
hmm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, you guys, we'll share all the links in the comments in the what do we call that? The show notes. It'll
Show
all be in
notes.
there, her website, her socials, all of that. So we look forward to sharing Tammy with you. And Tammy, I look forward to us, continuing an ongoing online friendship until we find each other, perhaps in physical proximity.
There you go. Amen. Yes.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, my beauties, another incredible episode with a phenomenal woman who's living in her truth, who let herself be seen. That's the whole point, right? Let yourself be seen in whatever size and shape it is. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you for celebrating episode 100 with me. How exciting! I just checked with Tammy as we said goodbye. It was 5 cancellations in September. And that could have really thrown things off, but I held belief, and here we are. I hit my goal, and it's wonderful. If something resonated with you in this episode, the invitation is here. what are we, December 30th. And in mid-January, I'm going to run the Everyday Woman Awakening. It's a 6-week program to align in spirit, body, mind, and heart to let more of your truth come out. It's a very affordable offer, $397 to come and work with me for 6 weeks in a small, intimate group, like Tammy and I were talking about, where we know each other and see each other's hearts. Okay, I'll keep that link in these show notes too, or just send me a message or an email. You can reach me on Instagram, Facebook, or email. I'll include those links here too. Everything is Powerful Inc., POWHERFULLINC. That's my tags everywhere. As you can see, the heart for us to live in our grounded peacefulness, not perfection, is a big piece of the vision and mission here. So if you're looking to fill yourself in a satiated and deep way, this could be a way forward. You're in my space. You love my podcast. Maybe you've been in the Everyday Woman Summit as well. It's here for you, my darlings, and I look forward to continuing to connect with you, even just a conversation, and to continue to serve you through this podcast and the Everyday Women Summit and other things that I will come forward with to push more light and lightness into your heart. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next show. And Happy New Year. Well, let's welcome 2026 into a bright, thriving, happy with the glory and the gore year. Take care.